Good morning. I'd like to welcome all who tuned in to another edition of Treasures. Today's treasure, the title is Kadosh, a Hebrew word, which we will find out what it means. And this is treasure number 41. Today's treasure, we're going to talk about the priesthood. Now, the word Kadosh is a Hebrew word meaning holy. Now, what does holy mean? That someone walks around all day just saying, holy, 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 like the angels in heaven do around the throne of God? Absolutely not. But holy actually means that we are set apart or separated for a special purpose. Think about what I'm saying. Holy is mentioned 576 times in the English translation of the Bible. I'd like to read Hebrews chapter 5, verse 1, out of the Amplified Version. It says this: For every high priest chosen from among men is appointed to act on behalf of men in things relating to God, to offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins. Now we know the Levites were separated from Israel, and they were priests, Kohanim. They were taken from the Levites. Each priest was separated. This was the key to their calling, being set apart, being separated from everyone else. And all they did was serve God, Yahweh. Think about it. That was their main purpose, nothing else, but was to serve Him. Again, Kadosh in Hebrew implies being separated. There's a scripture in the Bible that reveals you are a priest if you are born again. And a reference to being born again is found in John 3:3. The scripture I'd like to read is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9, out of the Amplified Bible. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a dedicated nation, God's own purchased, special people, that you may set forth the wonderful deeds and display the virtues and perfections of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light. Think about that privilege. He chose you and I out of darkness to be priests. This means that you are also taken from among men and separated. If you want to fulfill your calling, you have to be separated. Not so much from specific people, though it can mean that. It can mean you may need to be separated from people who are an evil influence on you, that are stopping what God called you to do. Realize this, my brothers and sisters, the devil will use people against you to try and slow you down, or to try and take you off the path that God called you to be on. Remember that. It's very powerful. We're separated from the world, from the sin in the world, the carnality and the flesh. Remember, a priest could only fill his calling by separating himself to who? God, the Lord, Yahweh, back in that day. You're a priest to God. The word for church in the Bible is ecclesia. And what does ecclesia means? It means the called out ones. This scripture says it all. 1 John 2:15 in the Amplified Bible reads this way: a warning, do not love or cherish the world or the things that are in the world. If anyone loves the world, here's the warning, the love for the Father is not in him. Did you hear what I just read? Let me read that last part again. If you love the things of the world, the love for the Father is not in you? Oh, no, not in my life. I don't care what's in this world. I can't wait to leave this world. And I hope you have the same attitude. This world is literally all going to hell. We're going so far into depravity, things I never dreamed I'd see, that are being accepted, even by the church. Let me get off of that. Here's another scripture that will help us to be separated from the world we live in. 1 John 2:16, Amplified Bible. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, that means craving for sensual gratification, and the lust of the eyes, greedy longings for the mind, and the pride of life. The pride of life affects all of us if we're not careful. That's the assurance in one's own resources, like you can cover everything. You don't need God in your life or in the stability of earthly things. These do not come from the Father, but are from the world itself. That's a powerful scripture. You need to write that down. 1 John 2:16 in the Amplified Version. So we must remember that we have to live in this world. Obviously, we're called to minister in this world. Matthew 28:19, the Great Commission. But we're not of this world. We have to be in it, but we don't have to partake in the things of the world, especially sin, being carnally minded, wanting fleshly desires. We must, my brothers and sisters, keep our focus on God's kingdom. We must be looking up all the time. If you're excited about His coming, you're on the right track. Some people don't even look up. Some people don't want Him to come because they know they're not living right. They still have a chance to change. Take yourself from among men that you may enter the presence of God, the peace of God. There's people out there making millions of dollars. They're miserable. If they were honest, they're always worried. How am I going to keep my money? How am I going to pay the taxes? How am I going to cheat on my taxes, et cetera, et cetera? I don't worry about those things. I want to be in the presence of God. When you're in the presence of God, there's peace. Peace, shalom, that surpasses all understanding. Men can't understand it. They want to give you Prozac for peace. What good does that do? Next scripture I'd like to read is Psalm 69:32 out of the Amplified Bible. The humble shall see it. Oh, there's an important word, humble. Some people live by the attitude, hey, it's my way or the highway. I'm sure we all know people like that. The humble shall see it and be glad. You who seek God, inquiring for and requiring Him as your first need. In other words, making Him first in your life. That's another thing we all need to do. That's above your wife. That's above your family. Think about what I'm saying. Yes, you love your family, but God should be number one in all of our lives. Let your hearts revive and live in Him. So in closing, remember you're called to be holy, Kadosh. Say it, Kadosh. Separated, not mingle with sin and worldly things. You are a priest unto God, taken from among men. Here's food for thought. This is a very important scripture. A lot of pastors read the first part, but they forget that last sentence. Listen to this last sentence. Hosea 4:6 out of the Amplified. My people, that's the church folks, that's not the people walking around lost out there, are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I know some Bibles say perish. Perish is a totally different word, meaning you're going to die. Destroyed means God's going to destroy you for lack of knowledge, because you, the priestly nation, have rejected knowledge. I will also reject you, that you shall be no priest to me. Whoa, I want to be a priest unto God. I don't want to be discarded for being carnally minded or living in sin. Seeing you have forgotten, this is so important, the law of your God, I will also forget your children. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? God to forget your children? I don't think so. So again, remember this. This is what God says. 1 Peter 1:16. Because it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy, the great I am. I hope you've enjoyed this treasure. And again, remember, we are to be Kadosh. Until we meet again, may the Lord bless you and keep you.